Yo, yo, yo. Before we get started and jump into episode 250, I need a favor. Truck Talk Media, we have 5 podcasts, and I have a few more that I'm potentially going to start. One for sure. We've got C10 Talk, OBS Talk, Dodge Pod, Bronco Talk, and F100 Talk. So we've got 5 podcasts. I've got one for sure that I'm going to add this fall, and I could use some help. So if you are an audio production person or you know somebody who is, I'm looking for some part-time and possibly evolving into full-time help with the production of the podcast. So editing audio, putting some fun audio sounds and effects in, anything like that. Audio, video, production, editor, shoot me an email or pass it along for me. I'd appreciate it. Let's see if we can't find somebody that's a fit for automotive podcasting, editing, and production. Thank you guys, and thanks for 8 awesome years of tuning in to C10 Talk. Here we go, episode 250 coming at you.
Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 250. The big 250. We've got Travis Dulgarian, Pro Performance, AZ Pro Performance. Greg Carpy, his sidekick, kicking it with us as well. 250 coming at you. Here we go.
Yes, I remember I would sell something and I have to wait for the money to clear because I didn't have enough money to buy. Like if someone bought like a brake kit for a couple grand, it's like, we got because we're gonna wait for that money to clear so I can get it, and then I'm like, okay, now I'll buy the kit and ship it. So a few shipping delays in the early days.
Damn, son. Seeing is believing, and our title sponsor, United Pacific, makes seeing a whole lot easier. The crispness of the United Pacific LED headlights, taillights, marker lights, and more makes seeing and showing your truck that much better. It's time to upgrade your old dim halogens for new LED headlights, taillights, and more. They offer the brightest and latest LED technology. Headlights are available up to 1600 lumens, easy to install, and it fits right in the OEM housing. How about upgrading to sequential taillights? They're DOT approved and ready to ship today. And for you 73 to 80 GMC and Chevy square body guys, they've got the new front parking lights, LED with stainless steel bezel. Think UP Car Parts. That's upcarparts.com.
Let me tell you what Melvin Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 Posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some bucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth clapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
What up, C10 Nation? Back behind the mic, a little 250 coming your way. Episode 249, we cruised out to Ruidoso and enjoyed that. Enjoyed getting behind the wheel, enjoyed being behind Orange Slice and hitting the pavement, pounding the pavement, if you will. 1,000-mile round trip, and we had a good time. So getting behind the mic again, I was off chasing animals around the forest. Did get elk, lucky enough to harvest one with a lot of hard work and some friends helping out, so that was nice. Getting ready to go back out with my daughter. She's got what's called here in Arizona, it's called a junior tag, and she's got a cow elk tag. So one more week of running around, hanging out, and hopefully having a good time, and we'll see what all happens. But I thought we'd squeeze one in here with Travis and Greg from Pro Performance. The bottom line is these guys have been behind C10 Talk, OBS Talk, Truck Talk Media. So I thought, hey, 10 years in business, supporting so many of us with our builds, why not reach out to Travis? And they were willing to hang out and chit-chat it up. So a little episode 250 with Travis and Greg Carpy, Pro Performance. What's up next? How about SEMA? Right around the corner, about a month away. We'll be hanging out, and we are going to have C10 Nation Day once again. If you're out at SEMA, if you're in Vegas and you can make it Thursday, you get in. We're at United Pacific UP Car Parts. They're going to be the host. We're going to be at their booth. We're going to be with Terry Rose, Mr. T. Rose, and his Twisted K5 Blazer. So I can't wait. That's going to be November 3rd, Thursday. I think it's at 11 o'clock. Of course, I'll update you as we get going closer and closer. But another C10 Nation Day. I'm sure there'll be free shirts. And why not? You got to check out Terry's Blazer. If you haven't checked it out, jump online. I've posted it up on C10 Nation a few times. It is amazing. Terry Rose, T Rose Twisted. Check it out. What an amazing build. The dude is killing it with that thing. Then we got the big dog himself, Dino, and the 12th annual Get Down. Right? Dino's Chevy Only Get Down, new location, November 11th and 12th. It is in Glendale, and it's just going to be across the street to the south at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium in the parking lot. I believe he's got like 140 vendors, and you know it's going to be full of trucks. It's a free show, as always, a free event. So if you can make it out, we look forward to seeing you. We'll have our booth set up, running and gunning. Looking forward to seeing everybody out here in beautiful Arizona because, you know, November, the weather's perfect. So Dino's Chevy Only 12th Annual Get Down, November 11th and 12th. So one more hunt, and I can get back to business. I do appreciate the support. 8 years. I did post that the other day, September 23rd. I had dropped the intro episode back in 2014, and October 6th, I think I recorded Dino, and then we put it out right after that. So our first true episode was Dino, and why not, right? So 8 years, and I can't thank you guys enough. The support, you tuning in, the questions, the emails, everything that you guys do. The C10 Nation is absolutely amazing, and honored to be part of it, honored to be behind the mic and have the ability to bring some different topics to you guys out there. If you've got other ideas of products, guests, or anything like that, shoot me an email. Ronnie at Truck Talk Media, RONNIE at trucktalkmedia.com. That's Ronnie at Truck Talk Media. And you know, I'll make it happen. All right, guys, let's get into the pod. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Do what you do. Let us know how we're doing. We appreciate it. Late. All right. C10 Nation, we're back behind the mic, and this is our 250th episode. Now, we've got some different bonus episodes out there, but I thought, man, 250 episodes, who should I get on? And it was really a no-brainer to have Travis, Pro Performance, azproperformance.com. And then I talked to him, and he goes, dude, you're never going to believe this, but Greg Carpy, who also works for Pro Performance. You might recognize him from Dakota Digital, but now he's jumped over to Pro Performance. So this is our 50th or 250th guest, and also a 10-year anniversary this year for Travis and his crew and everything that he's done. So this is a no-brainer. So welcome aboard, fellas.
Yes, thank you. We're here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're here. So I just thought, man, Travis, and, you know, kudos, because I get a lot of props. Hey, this is our 8-year anniversary. We've done this many shows. Thank you, Ronnie, for what you do for the community and so on and so forth. But really remember, you know, behind, you know, each successful guy is some kick-ass sponsors. So Travis has been behind us from the beginning. I remember talking to you about it, and you're like, what are you doing? And yeah, I don't know who was worse, you or Dino. I think Dino was like, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
Hey Kat, just tell me where you want me to be. Tell me what you want me to say, and we'll do it. So yeah, and that was actually, ironically enough, 8 years ago, this Friday is the date that I went over and hung out with Dino. And if you haven't heard the story, which I've told just about the whole world, is that the audio, the computer, the laptop shut off. So then the recording shut off, and I had to go back. And he was nice enough. So my you know, it wasn't looking good for my podcast career at episode 1. It was a rough start, but then I kind of looked at it like this: I could only get better. That's better.
True.
So,
it only goes up.
yeah. So Travis, I think first and foremost, congratulations on 10 years. 2022 marks your 10-year anniversary of slinging them parts. Yeah. So let's just talk about Travis and parts and AZ Pro Performance and everything else.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, I didn't think it'd be, well, okay, maybe
You're hoping
we'll be doing this 10 years from now, but yeah, I'll tell you what, it goes by fast, super fast.
Yeah, everything does, right? It's pretty funny how the world works out. I mean, 8 years ago, I didn't think I'd be sitting here. You know, I mean, you only think like one pot at a time or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, okay, it's actually working. What would you say when you looked back and you looked at the beginning? What did you think 2 years would look like? What did you hope a few years would look like?
It's a good question. I guess I never think that far ahead. Well, at least back then I didn't. Never, like, it's just, I just need to sell parts and make a living. And I was out of my house. So I don't know. I guess I had no expectation other than, hey, I'm gonna sell these parts. I like trucks. I know that, right? So I like trucks. I know the parts, know the truck scene. Well, because I've been in it for so long. And so I was gonna do it. Didn't really think that far ahead. I don't have this crazy answer that I knew in 2 years I was gonna be this and I had this plan, this game plan, none of that. We're just gonna sell and build a website and focus on that.
Now, you were in marketing before, correct? Or graphic design?
Graphic design. That's what I went to school for.
Graphic design.
Went to school for graphic design, worked for a few companies in the industry. Did that for 8 years. And then I grew up in Southern California. So 10 years ago, decided to move to Arizona, and that was my way to do it. So kind of quit it all, started pro, and started from the house and an extra bedroom and one shelf in the garage.
I remember it. I remember the office there right next to the garage, and then the very detailed and organized shelving in the garage.
Yeah. Yes. I remember I would sell something and then I have to wait for the money to clear because I didn't have enough money to buy. Like if someone bought like a brake kit for a couple grand, it's like we got because we're gonna wait for that money to clear so I can get it, and then I'm like, okay, now I'll buy the kit and ship it. So a few shipping delays in the early days.
Isn't that crazy too, to think like you were in your garage and it's a 3-car garage, so that helps, but now you're moving into, I think, your third, maybe even your fourth location.
Third, fourth-ish. We did a minor move from one suite to another in the same complex. So third spot.
Yeah.
Third move. Yeah. One house to a really small office space, which you'll know by Golfland.
There. Your dental office.
Talked about a couple times on the podcast. Back behind there, we were there for, that was maybe a year, maybe not quite. Then the next move in that complex there, we stayed in 2 suites. From there, we were there for almost 4 years, and then now here
to the new location. So that's exciting. What would you? I love the part of, hey, I didn't really think about it. Right? Sometimes that's best. You were married at the time, no kids. I don't think you had the kid. Yeah, you didn't have any kids yet. What kind of advice would you give somebody? I mean, just like, hey, jump in, let's go feet first, have somewhat of an idea, but don't stress too much about the 1 and the 2 years, because it seems like a lot of guys are like that. They're like, if you break down, like from the business perspective, they're like, no, I had no clue. I just went into it. And then you look back and you're almost like, I'm glad I didn't have a clue, because I might have been fearful to do it or attempt it.
I think so. They're probably, if you just go in and say, hey, I'm just going to do this. No, I'm not going to give some cliche advice. I'm just going to keep doing it, don't give up, nothing like that. I just find a small, like, niche, I don't know how you say it, market, and then just focus on that. I think that's probably the key. And at the time, trucks weren't as popular 10 years ago. Well, I say that, but Obviously they've blown up a lot in 10 years. So that would probably be my advice. Yeah. And just focus. I don't know if I would dive all the way in. Halfway did. I had a really cool boss at my previous job where he said, hey, look, you're going to start this, go ahead and work here, work a couple days part-time, ramp up your new business. And that was like 6 months of that in between. Did that, and that really helped. So, I mean, obviously you jump all in, you're kind of forced, like fight or flight or whatever, but I think it helped halfway transition. You kind of have a little bit of fail safe, but eventually you have to get rid of that, because then you got to commit and you just got to make it happen.
Yeah, you're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that. Yeah. When I started, wasn't married and no kids. So it's a little easier when you have that, but I was engaged. So
yeah, you were kind of married. I think too, that if you look now that I'm approaching, I'm approaching 49, and then 50 is not that far away, but when you're young like that's a great time in your life, and you kind of, for the audience, for you guys that are under 25, it doesn't get any better time to fail. And if one of them sticks, one of the ideas, because the only guy that you really need to worry about for the most part is you. If you don't have a wife or kids or something like that. Now, if you do, then things change, but you can go out there and you can make it happen, and you can devote 80, 90, 100 hours a week to that passion, to that business. And it'll hit eventually because you're putting that much into it.
Yeah. You just gotta, just the hours, ton of hours, but yeah, there's only 1 or 2 mouths to feed. So it's way, way easier. Yeah.
What would you say is maybe the biggest change in the scene? So you look back in 2012, you fast forward to 2022, when you think not just parts perspective, but when you think about the scene itself, like for us, it was the forum, right? We went from the forum, then the social media, and then to the magazines, and they came and they went, and now they're online, and then the podcast and the videos. And so what would you say, I guess both the biggest change that you've seen, and then the biggest change from the parts perspective as well?
Yeah, probably from the scene. I don't know, Greg, your thoughts on it, but the type of customer has changed. So I think in the early days, it was like there was truck enthusiasts, like that was all you got. They grew up with it, like you and I and all of us did, and that's who was doing trucks. Now it seems as the years progress, it might be a guy that says, you know what, I want to dabble in trucks. I kind of have this old truck. I want to take a shot at it and build it. So I see more of that, like the more maybe a guy that's not as much of a car guy, which is okay. That's great for the scene, and anybody can do it, right? But I think I see more of that, like for lack of a better term, the average Joe guy saying like, I'm going to build up this truck, or my grandpa gave me this, maybe not the true, like spend his whole life into trucks.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important for us to remember, and kind of a horrible analogy, but is like me in the fire department. We get guys who have no clue about the fire service, and we hire them, and it's like, hey, they're part of our family. They're here, and they're going to be on your truck, and they're going to be working. And we have to remember that everybody didn't come from the forum and grow up reading street trucks and all the same stuff. We have. And some of those young guys, they're just like, man, it's a cool group. I like these old things, or this, this style. And we have to embrace that. And I'm sure for you, there's times where you get somebody on the phone, or whether it's an internet chat or whatever, from a customer service perspective, and you're like, wow, this is different, because usually I can tell a guy, hey, flux capacitor hooks to this, you got this, you need this, we make this, we sell this, you're good to go. And then you get somebody who's like, can you go back to the beginning? What did you say? I don't even know what a master cylinder is. And you gotta be like, that's cool that you're admitting that, but that's crazy, because most of my clients would never admit that,
Yeah. Well, yeah. And sometimes you gotta like kind of guide them. Like, don't take apart your whole truck. Just start in baby steps. And then, it's great. They learn along the way, but yeah, maybe not taking apart the whole truck in your first shot is the best idea. Like, it'll just make that process easier and less, challenging.
Yeah, that maybe that's our PSA, our public service announcement. Just don't take your truck apart. Talk to somebody, maybe 2 to 3 different people before you start just blowing the truck apart. And that's a fun part. Blowing the truck apart's a fun part, but getting it back together might not be quite as fun. So Greg, what do you think? You've been in the scene a long time, and you've seen a lot of changes. What do you think about maybe some of the biggest changes you've seen over the last 10 years or your career in this automotive culture scene that we live in?
Same thing Travis touched on, of more newcomers or I guess first timers and newcomers. Yeah. Of, I've never done this. I got this truck, going to do an LS, I'm going to do this. And I'm thinking, wow, like, way to jump in. I would never do that. Like Travis said, like, we'll just do a little this and then do a little that and like work your way up. But a lot of guys are taking the plunge, which is really cool. And then I guess the style of the trucks, like, it used to be a lot more air ride and shaved handles and paint, and now it's drop kits or coilovers and original paint or original style repaints. So a different way of building the trucks, whether you're the newcomer or not. Everybody's kind of in that looks stock, but all upgraded. I want to drive it, not just lay it out at a show.
Yeah, one thing I think about whether it's a newcomer as well as I've got a guy who is 60, about to be 61, I think. And he's built a Cobra, a Mustang, a lot of different hot rod cars, muscle cars. And now he's like, I want to build a C10. So he's an automotive guy and he knows, but now he's like, hey, these are cool. These are hot. I see these rolling down the strip. I want one like that because we're in our heyday, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this particular guy I've sent to you a few times, Travis, so you might know the guy. And it's funny because he's got 3 parts catalogs rolled up. He's got a full list handwritten of what he needs, and little tabs. And it's just so funny how, like, and then, you get a 25-year-old who doesn't have one thing written down. And they saw it on YouTube and so it's so drastic, the difference of our scene.
Yeah, probably one of the big draws I think that some of the other guys like is the acceptance of the patina. Like, how would you ever see like a patina Camaro or Nova? Like, pretty not that common. So I think they see the trucks like, oh, this is cool. This is gonna be a piece of cake compared to full on Camaro build or what, however involved you get in that typically.
Yeah, I think the trucks have led the way for that. Yeah. So if you do see like a cool 55 car, even like a Challenger Charger or something like that, people are like, hey, I'm going to do it because I see how cool it looks over here. And we've been kind of rocking, patina for, a long 10 years, really. You've had this guy right here, this little 68 original paint, and it was actually real light from the patina perspective. But I think at some point there, it's even bled over to some of the cars. So yeah, the patina is definitely a cool thing. And it's still out there. We're lucky, obviously, because we're in Arizona. There's still some patina alive here.
Yeah. Well, kind of the Arizona sun does a nice job on taking away the paint.
Yeah, it does a real shitty job on the inside, but it does a great job on the outside. Yeah. It will destroy your inside. So what do you think about the parts? So you look at you guys have both been in the parts industry. Obviously, for the audience, Greg worked for Dakota Digital for years, and with Travis and being in aftermarket, and both of you, what do you think, from the biggest changes from the parts perspective?
Greg might know a little bit more from the manufacturing aspect of this, but obviously I would say just outsider looking, we do a little bit of manufacturing, but not necessarily in-house, but part of that process, but the technology side, but especially comes probably more like apparent in gauges, of course, where your background is. And probably the ingenuity, like, I don't know, they kind of can't reinvent the wheel, right? But somehow
you think you can, and then somebody comes up with something cool. So you can, exactly. You really can. Yeah. I mean, the wheel itself gets reinvented all the time. I mean, you sell a lot of wheels. You should know that.
Yeah. There's just no parts. I don't know. And then there's stuff that comes out and you're like, I've never even thought of that. Like, okay, that works. That's pretty good. I like that. I don't have any particular example off the top of my head, but I know there's things out there where guys have kind of done a different take and it's definitely worked.
Well, and having, Greg with the Coda on, you think about the old digital, right? Versus now like an RTX that's just I mean, it's pretty much orgasmic. I mean, it's just looks so good. It performs. Obviously, I just did a 1,000-mile trip in Orange Slice, and it's probably one of my favorite things because I am looking at it nonstop. But my gauge clusters, over the years, have the way that they have changed, and just really just my eyes are getting shitty too. So you can't see the old, like I still have stock, 67 to 72s, and you're turning your dial up because you can't really see as much. And then you get in, something that's got some Dakota Digital gauges. And again, I'm a big fan of the RTXs because I like the style, I like the look, but I like the performance. So it's it's everything really. And it almost goes back to what you're saying about the style of the truck, where they like the metal, we like the metal, we like the patina, we like all that, but then underneath it is something completely different.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in gauges, you probably would have thought like, okay, how much different can they do this? But now you've got like outside of town TPMS sensors. Like, who would have thought all that would have been added? Direction. You got daylight, you got your lights, you can have your lights on, you can have your direction, you have a compass, you got weather, you really have all the modern stuff that you're going to get in your Escadinale that you're going to get in your old C10 if you choose to add a few BIMs and some BIMs. So I would say too, what do you think about the chassis and how much that's changed? Back to the old days where there was like 3 companies and now there are like 30.
When you're looking for classic Chevy or GMC truck parts, brotherstrucks.com is your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration parts. So whether you are restoring an original or looking to customize that classic truck, brotherstrucks.com has thousands of the highest quality truck parts for you to choose from. So head over to brotherstrucks.com and order your free catalog today. And don't forget to follow Brothers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates and special offers too. Hey guys, are you thinking about swapping out your old motor for a more reliable LSLT-based power plant? We've got great news for you. PSI Conversion is offering our listeners 10% off your order. Behind each PSI harness, you get over 10 years of experience in the business, online tech support, phone support, and harnesses made in the U.S. That's psiconversion.com. And don't forget, use code C10TALK and save 10% today. Hey guys, I've got Andrew from Painless Wiring on. Andrew, what's the latest?
Just working on producing these GM truck harnesses. They're our best moving vehicle specific, and we're just, super excited to be able to service such a great community of truck guys.
Made in the USA. You guys are probably cranking them out nonstop. A ton of our audience is out there buying these trucks, building these trucks, and they know, hey, Painless Performance has got me taken care of.
Factory options, aftermarket stuff. If you have any questions, call our tech guys. They'll walk you through anything you need to know, and we'll make sure your truck gets wired up right the first time.
If you want to clean up your underdash, you want to clean up your chassis, it's that easy. Painlessperformance.com, painlessperformance.com. Thanks, Andrew. How much that's changed, back to the old days where there was like 3 companies and now there are like 30.
I don't know, it creates the more people in the market, the better. Kind of forces people to push their product. I think it's good. I don't know, I think options are good. It's never a bad thing. I feel like some of that stuff too is sometimes it's the traditional 4-link still does a great job. Or trailing arm. There's a lot of trailing arm systems still out there. Yeah.
I think it's good. I definitely didn't phrase that, or at least to mean that it sound like it's not good. I just think it's such a big change to where you used to have 3 options. And I think having 30 options is better, but then it becomes a little confusing too, right? Where you're like, hey, there's this much I can choose from, and now I've got this much, and you've really got to do your due diligence. You got to do your, kind of talk to some different folks. When you're on the phone and the old guy like us is saying, don't blow your truck apart. Don't blow your truck apart. If you think you're going to get a chassis, then you might want to do a little due diligence on what chassis to get and to think of. And really, then you also have to have the idea. Do I want it static? Do I want it air? What all do I want? Do I want autocross?
Yeah. We get asked that a lot between air and coilover. Like, what should I do? And sometimes it's like, sometimes we can't answer that. Like, it's really just, here's the pros and cons of each.
Okay. So I'm on the phone. I've got a 1975 C10. I'm conflicted. What can I do? What should I do?
First thing I ask is, how low do you want it when it's airbagged? Because that's what I think a lot of guys don't realize, like what it takes to lay one out on the ground. So that usually right there will say, okay, well, I don't want to do that much. Okay, fair enough. You know, sometimes you don't want to get that involved. So then they'll switch. Okay, all right, maybe we don't want to do bags. Maybe we want to do coilover now. Like, I don't want to take my truck that far. So, but yeah, I don't know, ride quality versus handling. And I understand that airbags can still handle real well, and obviously coilovers can ride well. So I kind of use that, like, where do you fall more towards on that decision?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I want to go slow and low, or I want to go a little fast and low and just glide right over the, or hey, I want to put I want to put that power to the pavement. I want to rip this thing, and I don't want to go that low. So really it's funny because when you have like a decision tree, you could make the pro performance decision tree, and it's like, how far do you want to go, or how much performance you want to, and kind of work your way down. And I do, having both the air management, and it's fun. It's super cool. It's definitely kind of there's a show off perspective to it where you like, and you get out and your door bottom is like barely, just clearing, and you're stressed about it. And then there's something to be said about a static where you do not have to stress about it as well. So both have pros and cons.
Yeah. Yep.
Or in this case, AZ pros and cons.
Oh.
That might be like a whole new video that you could do right there. You'd be like, hey, AZ pro and cons. Here's we go. We got the decision tree right here. We got special guest Travis. That's free. It's free for you. There you go. AZ pros and cons. Here we go.
All right. We're done here.
And it's where I'm spent. What about brakes? I think brakes is one of your specialties. I think you create and make your own brakes now. Braking.
Yes. Often overlooked, I think, in a lot of, well, maybe not so much nowadays, but I think the brakes everyone wants the big horsepower. Like, I want to go fast, but kind of forget about the brakes. That, or they build these like awesome trucks, and it's like, okay, well, you do want something nice behind the wheel.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of us were raised from the 88 to 98s, and GM didn't care about brakes. So why should we care about brakes? If GM didn't care about brakes, why should we care about brakes?
Yes.
And then in my NBS, which I'm just about ready to hit 200,000, LBZ Duramax, I've towed the heaviest shit. I still have. I really probably need to change them. The factory brakes.
It's crazy how long they last most. Greg has an NBS, and I bet you he's probably never done brake pads.
No, I did. I put the sport rotors and pads in the front.
See?
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy.
Even I did it, so that's saying something.
Yeah. He found some time. So yeah, what about brakes? I mean, you've seen some big changes in brakes. The people, the old school, maybe now we're up to 6 pistons. I do think braking sometimes is affected or you add braking based upon what wheel you're going to run, just on whether or not it's hidden. And if it's not hidden, then you've got some fancy wheels, and you're going to be seeing through that. That's this part of the decision tree where I tell people, well, what wheel are you going to run? If you're going to run a solid, you could get away with a lot cheaper brake. But if you're going to run something that's open, then you're not going to put a shitty brake behind that. You just can't. So you probably are going to spend more money because you got a fancy wheel, and you're going to spend more money because you got to have a decent brake behind that fancy wheel.
That's true. But you might also need the brakes more on a solid wheel because of the weight. So you still want to consider big brakes with a solid wheel. It's just pure, rotational weight and slowing that down. So, but yeah, we got a kit for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yes, there's it breaks with bigger rotors, bigger calipers, natural progression. Everything is larger.
So you've seen some companies come, you've seen some companies go. What do you think is going to happen in the next few years? I mean, we've got supply chain issues now. We've got more trucks being built than some people can even get parts. So, we're not out of the water in this whole deal, but it seems like everything's kind of cruising along.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good here. Like, it seems that the supply is getting a little bit better, I think. I mean, it's hit or miss. But yeah, I mean, we see a little bit of improvement happening, and I don't know if that's because of the changes happening and people buying parts in general. So there's just more parts availability because less people are maybe buying a little bit lately, or less people buying parts lately. I don't know, but I think it's improving. Maybe it's getting better. I kind of see it. Greg does a lot of our ordering and all that too. So I think some of the lead times have been improving. We try to do a lot of the waiting for the customer, do our best, but it doesn't always work out that way, but we try.
Will that change now with the new warehouse, the new shop? Will you be able to have more stock for that waiting for the customer?
That's the goal. Yeah. To stock more, but it's also kind of challenging stocking more.
As long as the check clears, right? Because if the check doesn't clear, you go back to your foundation.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm out of money. I'm out of money again. God damn it.
Yeah. Lead times are good. It's just my money clearing has been.
Yeah. It's funny how those coincide.
Yeah. No, that's the game plan. It just takes a lot to inventory a lot. So, and we do it all ourselves. Like, it's all self-funded, I guess you should say. So it's kind of a slow process. It's taken 10 years to kind of build up to what we are now. So
have you ever inventoried something that you didn't inventory enough? And then have you ever inventoried something that you inventoried way too much?
Almost everything we never.
Everything.
Yeah.
At one point or another, you get like there'll be a run on, let's say, a specific vintage air kit. Like, we used to buy these like 3 at a time. Like, now there's 8 on back order. Like, we missed the boat on those, and then you go, but we have 10 of the other one that everybody stopped buying, and it's a constant game of catch up and, oh man, what are we gonna do with all these?
Yeah, you can look at all of the reports and say, okay, this is how many we sold in 6 months, and you can try to do the best you can with that, but it's still very random. Or like what Greg was saying, we used to order 3. Okay, well, we had none left over. Let's go to 5 or 6. Okay, that still didn't work. We still have none left over on the shelf to keep on.
It's a great problem to have.
It's not. It is. And this is no way complaining. It's just like constant chase. And some of that stuff has caught up to us on some components where either the manufacturer sped up on lead times, or we just got a little crazy with stock ordering. So we end up with way too much, but it's a good thing because then it ships right away. If someone calls in orders, give us a day or two and it's out the door. So it's quite challenging.
So you don't really ever you don't have to say the specific brand, because I wouldn't want you to, rat something out, but have you ever ordered too much and been like, we got to have a sale. I've got way too much of this. And, I mean, hey, we've hit a few home runs. We, vintage air, we ordered 5, we sold 5, whatever, but there's got to be something, whether it's a shock or something, a wheel, something where you're like, shit, I ordered way too many of these.
Yeah, see, now if we say that, Greg, they're gonna call and be like, hey, I know you got a bunch of those.
No,
Ronnie said you
this is over 10 years. I'm not trying. I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to set you up. I'm just trying to make good stories.
No, I don't think we've ever ordered. There has been some suspension stuff that we've ordered that has just been crazy, but never enough to get a sale. We just kind of use that as like, well, hey, this is great because we have it and there's no lead time, and it'll slowly will kind of work itself out. We just hang on to it and just do it that way. Just, hey, we have it. That's going to be the plus here. So yeah, I can't say anything where we're like, we got way too much of this.
What about social media and the perspective of how that's changed things?
A lot. I feel like stuff gets out faster. Something you post now will be, like we've had products that we posted and like we can see sales come in probably like that same day. And I don't know if this works that way for everybody. Someone might say like, no, we do it all the time. It's not that crazy, but like we'll post something and be like, oh man, that was pretty right after the point. Like, okay, we see it coming in. It's like, I should do that more often.
Yeah. I almost wonder when you have that, and then there's times where maybe you don't, and you're like, did we not post that? Are we not getting enough? Like, I expected to sell, because then it changes. Like before, where sales might come in slower, let's say years 1 through 4. Well, now years 5, 6, 7, and 8, you're like, hey, we posted that. We should have sold 8 of those already. And so you start to change your algorithm for sales and posts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different from the forum days for sure. Like I haven't hopped on the forum in maybe 4 years, 3 years. It's been a while.
I still get emails that'll say like a thread or something, because every now and then, if you should almost log in, like we should do like log in the first of every month or something like that, something corny. And because then when you log in, you'll start to get more, you'll get the emails, it'll kick it back up, it'll refresh it. I still use it to figure stuff out. I still have questions where
good resource.
Oh, I hope it never goes away. I'm fearful that it will, but we're going to we'll have to do a GoFundMe for that damn thing because we use it so much. And now YouTube obviously is free as well. And so much YouTube is out there, but there's almost the point where you have so much information. You're trying to weed through it over the course of the last, let's just say 25 years of our truck enthusiasm. And you think by now you're like, shit, I've taken that thing apart. How many times I've done this? How many times I've done that? But then you're like, let me go online just to make sure I know what I'm doing here. You know what I mean? I don't want to forget a step.
That open and
Yeah. Exactly. It's like and it's all still relevant, obviously, because 72
it's the same truck
changed.
Yeah.
Permanent good information.
It's funny how that stuff doesn't change. You guys have also made some parts, right? So you see a void and you're like, hey, we've got a void in the, the scene and guys need this. So you've done a lot of that as well. You've done not a lot, but you've done a few things. You've manufactured from suspension and different, just parts.
Yeah. That's kind of where the React line pops in is, and we've even focused more on the items or building products that fill where things don't exist. Like we just finished up a 2-door Tahoe 4-link kit. Nobody makes one. All right, we'll do it. Like let's do that. So obviously we make notches and stuff that's out there that other people do, but we've kind of switched focus where it's like, okay, we're gonna make the products and the parts that fill maybe a smaller void. And so sure, we won't sell a ton of them, but it's kind of cool for the guy with those that's like, all right, this is perfect for me and it makes sense. So that's kind of where we switch it up. But we'll dabble in that, and that's kind of what we've been doing lately.
Well, and the CK spindle, right? You've got that's a big hit. That was a lot of work and a lot of anticipation and that's got to be one of the bigger ones you've done.
Yes, that's one of the that took about 1.5 years, like the process of doing that, samples and making like test fitting it, putting some mileage on it, making sure things work. And it's always evolving. We're still trying to make final tweaks if we need it. I know it's just a spindle, but there's little things that we've done to try to improve it or even make the fit better. And so it's never ending. We're never under the impression. No, we made it. It's perfect the first time. We don't need to do anything.
I don't know what you just did, but the audio changed and it made you even sexier than you were before.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, he must have hit a button there. So, you go to a lot of shows. Pro Performance has been seen all over the country, from Tennessee to Texas to Cali, Arizona, New Mexico. So you're definitely a mover and a shaker.
We're trying. Yeah. Shows are a lot of work, but I like them. They're fun. Maybe a slight vacation in there. Greg flies out to all the shows. So now if you go to the shows, it used to be Pops and I. Now it's Greg and I.
Greg doesn't mind the stops as much as Dad.
No, because
he doesn't have to stop. He just flies in.
It's just, just one. Yep. So, but
2.5 hours.
Oh, for the audience, 6 years ago, Travis was on the maiden voyage of the eastbound and down to the throwdown, and so was his dad, Jack. And we stopped 19 times. He'll never let it down, and he'll never forget it. And we also like to let him know how many times we stop, even the most recent travels we did together.
yes.
But yeah, we stopped a lot, probably too many times, but man, it was a good time. So it's kind of funny story.
Yeah, driving there. Why are they stopping?
That's a generation thing, isn't it?
Why are they stopping? Now what is it? Like, I don't know.
Is this another social media post?
Time.
It's a state flag, Dad. We have to stop at the border. Come on. We got to stop and take a picture that your
New
truck
Mexico welcomes us.
Yeah. Welcome to New Mexico. Welcome to Texas. Didn't he get that on the way already? Does he have to stop again? Well, now you got to stop in Arizona. Yes. Now you got to stop in Arizona.
Yeah.
Stop in Colorado.
We welcome. Yeah.
Oh my God. So what would you say, Greg, because you came from Dakota where, you had a small, your window of parts was so small and you're dealing with just the gauges, and now you get to deal with the mass of pro performance.
That's been interesting, and you have to be a lot smarter to do a lot of things, because before it was, anybody that calls, I can answer any question because, I know everything about this, but now it could be any great number of year range, and I want to do this or that. And it's like, I don't know, long bed, short bed, like that's a little bit different. Like this fits, that doesn't. So that's been an eye-opening experience, and it's been kind of fun. It's always fun to learn something new. Like when I started at Dakota in 2009, I knew almost nothing about automobile electronics. Like I never put in a stereo. I didn't put in fog lights in high school. I didn't mess with any of that. So that was totally wow, I'm learning a lot. And this has been a little bit of the same. Like, I've been around cars forever and felt like I knew a lot, but there's a lot of little nuances and a lot more to learn. And that's been fun.
So how do you do your learning? Do you do that by doing some research online, by calling Travis, by just researching it? How else do you do that research?
Yeah, all of that really. Sometimes it's just trial by fire, and the customer explains it to you and go, well, I don't know, what does yours look like? Does that look right? And they're like, oh yeah, that should work. And I'm like, yeah.
So are you saying, you say, is it a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive? And the guy's like, it doesn't matter,
only
bro.
Only if they're wiper blades.
Oh yeah, wiper blades. Yeah, I got wiper blades I need. Is it a 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive?
Yeah,
is it 4-speed or 5-speed? It doesn't matter, dude. Poor guy at AutoZone. He's like, well, my think tree doesn't work unless you tell me. Make something up. Let me go past there.
And hold on, when Greg researches something, it is very thorough.
Deep.
Like he will find the best way to do it, what parts, and he will find out this part works better with this part, and it'll be the best combination that you've ever wanted, ever you were wanting to buy.
Is that because that's how you are, or because you enjoy that part of it and you enjoy that thoroughness? Hey guys, I've got Joe Road, Classic Performance Products, CPP back. Joe, let's talk X10 spindles. Go.
Yeah, CPP's one of our most popular parts through the years has been our 2.5-inch drop modular spindles. Really popular part. Well, we've kind of taken that to the next step. We've emulated late model Corvette, Silverado, Chevy technology into our new X10 drop spindles. They use a steel hub, sealed bearing hub, really strong piece.
As you know, Joe, so many guys are building bigger trucks, bigger wheels, bigger brakes, everything bigger and better. Is this X10 something they should be considering?
Oh, absolutely. It's oversized bearings. Definitely great for a guy using big brakes, big wheels, which I'm sure all your guys are.
All right, guys, there you go. If you're looking to upgrade, you need a new spindle anyways, you're going to lower your truck, you're running a bigger wheel, a bigger brake. CPP's got it for you with their new X10 spindle. Joe, as always, thank you. CPP, classicperform.com. It's classicperform.com. Marquet has been in business for over 40 years. It all started in the original owner's garage. From humble beginnings of a couple parts in a garage to a 2-building manufacturing facility making over 6,000 parts, Marquet has grown to be one of the country's premier truck parts manufacturers. They not only design the products, but also design the tooling to build the products, guaranteeing quality control. They have made their original parts from the original trucks. Aluminum strips are double polished, creating a mirror finish, and crystal clear anodized. They offer quality parts built by Americans for old American-made trucks. So when you're looking for body moldings, bed strips, bed wood, and so much more, think Mar-K. That's mar-k.com. Hey guys, are you about that life? That air it out lifestyle? You know how good those laid out rides look, right? Well, AccuAir offers premium air suspension solutions for you and your ride. They have products in stock ready to ship, or you can buy from your favorite dealer. So give them a follow on social media for any product updates and anything new coming out in the future. AccuAir.com. It's that easy. AccuAir.com.
It'll be the best combination that you've ever wanted, ever you were wanting to buy.
Is that because that's how you are, or because you enjoy that part of it and you enjoy that thoroughness?
Well, it's a little bit of both, because I'm cheap, and so I want to do it one time in kind of the most effective, efficient way, and I don't want to buy anything twice, and I don't want to have to return it. So it's like, no, you just figure out all the ins and outs and try to get it all mapped out before. And I don't want to, you can't tell a customer sure, go buy part A. And then he's like, well, A didn't fit. And well, maybe B is the one you need. And customer's not going to put up with that. So you need to give them the right answer first time also.
Well, I love that you're cheap and that you only want to do it once, because that brings us to probably one of the absolute best things in our scene. And when you deal with parts people is buy the right part the first time. And sometimes that part, even though it's double what the part you think you can get, it's more than double the value. It's more than double the fitment. It's more than double the headache. It's more than double the longevity. So that, that's, do you find that you're telling guys hey, dude, I'm cheap, but don't buy that. That's below cheap. That's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You need to buy this. This has proven this is the real deal, boom.
Mm-hmm. And I got to do that back at Dakota Digital. Their products aren't inexpensive, even a VHX, to a lot of guys, that's a big chunk of money. And you get guys say, well, brand X is $400. Why is yours $8? And you're well, you tell them things. And they're well, this is all the same things. I'm it doesn't have lifetime warranty. It wasn't built 30 feet away from the salesman talking to you. And then I would, so sometimes you convince them, sometimes you think about it, but you'd also get the calls of, I bought brand X 2 years ago because yours were so damn expensive. And now they don't work, so I'm buying yours anyway. Well, yeah, you should. So there's value. You can't just go with the least expensive item. And the React spindle, it's a little more than some of the more popular brands for the C1500s, but your wheels are going to fit better and it's easier to put brakes on it, and it's better. It's a little more upfront, but at the end, that's what you want. That's the finished product you're looking for.
Yeah, and that's one of those AZ pros and cons is the young guys don't have the money, they got the time, and they're screw it, I'll make it work, and they buy the cheaper shit, and that's fun because that's how they learn and that's how we learn, and so on and so forth. But sometimes you're man, just eat top ramen for 2 more days.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Save
pick up one weeks. Pick up one more overtime shift, and you're going to save yourself so much. But the problem is, then you get the snowball effect where it's but I don't just need the spindle. I need this, this, and this, and I need more money for this. And I'm going to be I'm going to have a 32-inch waist again if I keep doing this. I need more food, dude.
Well, or I need to drive my truck. This is my driver. I don't have 3 months to have it filleted in the driveway. And okay, but man, for 10% more, you could have the right part.
Yeah. So we always try to guide them. We'll never. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's what works best for them.
Yeah.
It's budget.
Different budgets, different plans. So yes, but I feel like we have a little bit for.
Well, and it's kind of like Motel 6. Hey, we'll leave the light on for you. If it doesn't work out, you can call us. We'll gladly sell you more parts.
Exactly.
I wish we could do Tom Bodette's voice. We'll leave the light on for you. We'll gladly sell AZ pros and cons. We'll sell you more parts. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that shit works. So 10 years, huge congrats. Thank you for being episode 250 for this one. What do you see? Now, I understand we're not Nostradamus here. We don't know what the hell is going to happen, but what do you see? Let's just do maybe 2 years. Any big changes in the next 2 years? Anything you think will change?
It's a good question. That's probably why you asked it. I don't know. Like same thing when I started. No idea.
No idea. You're like, I don't care what happens 2 weeks from now. I'm just slinging parts. When I started, I was engaged. Now I got a wife and 2 kids, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that. Hey, that's a great question.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I had a better answer, but I think we're in a good spot with the trucks. Like we get just with parts, and I don't know if you're asking in terms of like parts availability or parts like ingenuity or what's.
No, I would say more of like
the scene.
Well, yeah, the scene. Like you think about like you've seen the rise of the CK trucks, but I don't think I've seen that much of a fall of the C10s at all. No, so you see a rise of the OBSs, and they're popular, and they've unfortunately gotten a little bit out of hand from the pricing perspective. But that's been a big mover. I still think 67 to 72s are as popular as ever. I think people are building some of the baddest, raddest trucks out there, and Blazers. I think even, Suburbans, there's so many different things. So maybe more on the lines of what you envision with the generations from, and it can be Tri-5s, it can be first, advanced designs, Tri-5s, just trucks in general over the whole. Do you think cat eyes are going to get super popular?
No. Oh, I mean, popular maybe, but I just think they're too modern looking. Like they lose the classic appeal. That's me personally. And
you froze up.
Swap them. They're already
you froze up.
I mean, I guess you put an LT in it or something.
Oh yeah.
Are we here? You can't really motor swap it. It's already got an LS. I mean, I don't know. I think some of the enjoyment of what guys build trucks for is they get to do all this stuff to it and really actually build it. I think some of that's missing in the MBS because it's
already done.
What do you think about electric?
I'm not a fan. I don't know. They're just not exciting to me. I can appreciate it. They just don't. Not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you want to have a Rivian, you want to have a Lightning, you want to have anything electric, dude, that's awesome. Go for it. Yes. But in a classic, that's almost the point of having a classic, I
want my car to smell.
I need to smell like gas. I need to stink. When I get out of that thing, I mean, come on, so
I want it to be uncomfortable.
Plus the rumble in the jungle. I mean, that's, I know they've come up with some, facade, fake, audible noises that they can create. But yeah, that's a tough one. I'm with you on that, but I also think there's a cool effect where, we see those classics at SEMA. We see some of that stuff at SEMA or Barrett Jackson, stuff like that. So
I like this, like where the scene is now, because you get a good mix of, like, you see these killer builds that are full paint and they get like mods done to them, like, okay, maybe just more than the touch bumper, or hey, we slightly raked the windshield, or whatever it might be. You have those builds that are like that, and then you have the patina builds, and you have, I think there's a good variety. It's not just, all these are just painted trucks and modded to the most they can be, and that's that.
Yeah,
I think there's a good mix. I like the variety.
What do you think about shows? You think back for 10 years, you guys, we had Brothers and Dinos and LST, and really they all just celebrated. I mean, Brothers just celebrated like their 22nd, 23rd, some of the different good guy shows, but now we've got a lot of shows popping up, That's been a fun change too.
I don't think anybody goes to the shows for the trucks, to be honest. I think they just go to hang out with their friends. Like I grew up doing street rods with my dad and grew up doing all this truck stuff. I think the truck scene is the only one where I've seen these people that lived all the way from like Jason Polite or, all these people will come from all these different states, and they see each other more than they would if they lived in the same state, probably. Like, it's crazy to me. Yeah, like, it's kind of blows me away that all these people from all over the US come together for these shows. I don't really see that elsewhere. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that happening in other, like, I don't know. Maybe it does happen.
No, it's cool. And we're blessed because we
create,
you find these like-minded people, and then you find that, again, I mean, obviously I've beat this one up, but the trucks are cool and the people are cooler, and you get to know these guys, and you're like, dude, I don't even, I've tried to explain that to people. It's like, this guy spent the night at my house. He knows my kids, they know who he is. I've been at their house, so on and so forth. And you create a bond with, and I encourage the people out there, find your C10 family, your classic truck family, find those guys that, when you're getting together, hey, we're going to go, that we're planning out next year. What shows are you going to hit? Do you want to go to this show? Do you want to go to this show? Hey, I've always wanted to go to this show. Let's go to this show. You know what I mean?
I think it's cool. Yeah, that everyone, like, it comes from all over, and people travel. Like, it's obviously hopping on a plane stuff pretty easy these days, but yeah, it's like you see them at every show. Like,
and for Greg, working for Dakota, going to a lot of good guys events, you would see a plethora of different, from a Ford Fairlane gauge set to a GTO to a C10, and now you're so engrossed in the trucks. Well, how would you explain that difference from the show perspective, and all the travels that you've done over the years?
I think Travis is right that it's a lot of maybe more social aspect. I mean, people obviously like to go and show off and look at this truck I built or bought or found or whatever. But good guys, it almost seems more like I brought my car to good guys, and like getting it there, being there was the accomplishment. And I mean, you'd see like little groups of friends, but it's the truck world is unique versus, I think, overall the hot rod world, that it's a lot more camaraderie. And we went to hang out with our buddies, and we caravan eastbound and down, whatever, we all got together and drove there. Maybe I was just not invited, but I don't hear about that. Like, we're all going to drive 30 street rods to Good Guys Columbus together. Like, that doesn't happen. It's other than Roadster Shop, I guess they bring 30 cars at a time. But yeah, the truck world is definitely unique, and the like diehard enthusiasm. They're all just so stoked about all the trucks and being there and just living it. It's cool. It's cool to see, and it's fun to be a part of.
It really is, and you think about 10 years of slinging parts and 8 years of podding and where our place is in that whole thing. And it's been a fun ride. So here's to another 10 years, dudes slinging parts and having a good time. And we are blessed. We have got great people, amazing builds. We've been able to keep, I always say John Oro keeps it all together, working his magic behind the scenes and just keeping people happy, because it is tough. It's tough to keep guys happy with, I want this build. I want to be the biggest and baddest and raddest. And it's like, and we've had people come into our scene, and we've had people leave, and we've had people come in and leave, and we've, so it has been, if you look at some of that, but at the end of the day, the social perspective, the guys, the girls, the families, and kind of a crazy, just a thought was when I put we had our anniversary the other day, and I put it up, and it was like, my son is 12, my daughter's 8, and my daughter's 5. And now I look, and I've got a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And it's just like crazy going back to the beginning of what you said and how fast it goes. And if you blink, it's like, holy shit, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So it's been a fun ride. We couldn't do it without the support of Pro Performance and, what you guys do for us. So yeah, it's awesome stuff.
Hey, well, thank you. I'm glad this all worked out. Like, I still remember the 8 years talking about the bad dinos. Yeah, we got this podcast. Like,
yeah, you're like, what? Yeah. I'm like, here, you just give me the money, and I'll figure it all out. And you're like, all right. Yeah. You're like, here, Ron, here, let me show you my business plan. I don't do anything projection over 1 week. Okay.
Yep.
So tell me if you need the money. We'll do a commercial. Here we go. All right.
See, that was looking 1 week out. We're good. When you do the podcast in a week, I'm in.
You know what's funny is I probably have all those original commercials. I have on a file on a drive. I have all 250 episodes, which really for the audience, it's like 286. It's just that there's bonuses and other stuff that's mixed in there. It's just that the label an episode. So yeah, I have all that. I have it all. Sometimes I'm like, I got to get rid of these old commercials because they're just all in commercials. And so when I go through and I find the file, I just go by the date. So maybe what I'll do for this episode is I'll try to find the oldest Pro Performance commercial that I can to put in there just for kind of a gimmick. I'm usually really good with names. And what is the guy that was your main guy for a couple of years?
Well, like 5 years ago.
Yep.
Nick
it is. Yep. I was like, dude, what's his name? So yeah, Nick. Okay. So yeah, because it's like Nick from Pro Performance. Yeah. All right. So it might be Nick. I think I got a Nick commercial in there. I think I've got because it just so happens the owner of Pro Performance just does not love to do the commercials. So that's how you'll notice that it's like Nick or Greg or Ronnie or somebody else, because the guy, Travis, doesn't love to do the commercials. I probably have spent a lot of time trying to get Travis to do a commercial. And he's like, I do commercials like I do business plans. Not going to happen.
You said I had a radio face, but I don't even know.
No, you have a face. You have a face. No, you have a face for TV. Greg and I have a face for radio.
I don't know.
That's fair.
Look at this walrus thing growing. I mean, isn't it ridiculous or what?
This whole time.
It's like Andy Reid had a kid or something. I don't even know. I've got one more elk hunt. I'm leaving I think Thursday. I've got one more hunt to go run around in the forest, and after that I'll probably get rid of it. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it for Dino's.
I'd leave it.
I wish I could do all the other stuff like you guys, but I can't. It just doesn't work out for me.
No, mine doesn't either.
Mine works. It just doesn't work out for my work. But yeah, it works. You can't have a mustache like this and not have the rest. But
that's true.
So now it's not Goose level, right? It's not Goswick level. No, that dude could shave on a Tuesday, take a shit on a Wednesday, and have a full freaking mustache.
Yeah,
not even fair.
That and Caesar.
Oh, dude, Caesar's is ridiculous. Yeah, Matt, for the audience, Cagoose can grow, if not one of the baddest mustaches, and then Caesar Mata of Matador Customs, who are both local to us out here, and they are on the Mustache Hall of Fame, I think, at least for the truck scene, for sure.
When my mustache grows up, it wants to be like Chad's.
Yeah, for sure. Right on, get on. Carlos from GMC Avenue, he can put a pretty good one together as well. So we digress. I think you guys have a C-notch to go put in. I'm going to take you out with nothing but awesome congrats on a 10-year. And we do appreciate all the support. And here's to another, I think I got a beer right here. Here's to another 10 years.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 250. Hope everything's going well. Hope you enjoy the pod with Travis and Greg. AZ Pro Performance. I'm going to throw a few of these old school commercials in here at the end just for fun. And remember, if you guys know somebody who might be able to help with some editing, audio, podcast editing, have them hit me up, Ronnie at Truck Talk Media. I do appreciate it. All right, guys, have a great week. Late. Hey guys, when it comes to aftermarket C10 parts, you got to check out Pro Performance. These guys are great guys who are C10 builders just like you and I. Travis and his team really care about your customer experience. I know these guys personally, and I can honestly say they're really good dudes. If you remember in our Porterbuilt episodes, Nate told you Travis at AZ Pro Performance was his #1 dealer. They order for stock. That means that they have Porterbuilt parts on the shelves. If you want to get to work on that suspension right away and avoid lead times, hit them up. Travis will take good care of you. They also sell everything from AccuAir, Bear Brakes, Dakota Digital, Boyd Tanks, I Did It, Vintage Air, custom billet wheels, and more. These guys are fellow C10 enthusiasts who have over 14 years experience in the automotive scene. Head over to azproperformance.com and order today. That's azproperformance.com. Tell Travis Ronnie sent you. C10 Nation, let me tell you about my buddies Travis, his dad Jack, aka Dad, and Nick. They run Pro Performance, AZ Pro Performance. They're active in our community. They're C10 guys. They're always working on new stuff, like their new suspension line, React Suspension. They're master dealers for AccuAir, Dakota Digital, Bear, Boyd Welding, Vintage Air, and many more. They're C10 specialists and stock many fast-moving products backed by their stellar customer service. Not only do they sell C10 parts, but they live and breathe C10s and are very active in our community. Like I said, look for them at your next truck show. Nick might be there if they let him out, but usually Travis and his dad, Jack, and they want to talk to you and help you out with your C10 project. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and you can also check out their Facebook group called C10 Addiction. So check them out and let them know that I sent you.